I'm Leslie Ross. I work for Norwich Union Healthcare, which is a subsidiary company within Aviva. I lead what's called business change in IT, which is effectively managing everything through the change program from initial idea in inception right the way through to the development and implementation of those changes throughout the business. Norwich Union Healthcare was founded about 18 years ago. It was founded as an innovative healthcare company in the UK. The project stemmed from a strategy in 2005. The business had gone into a period of where it was muddling through, frankly. We weren't making great returns for the shareholder. Our customers were not particularly happy with us. The growth of the company had slowed down, and we had all the usual strategic options, but the option that we chose in the end was to grow the company. And we put some capital into the company and then started looking about how could we grow it, and the demand on the business was double the size of the business in 3 years, do it with maintaining the cost base completely flat, and improve the profitability. So no small challenge to do in quite a difficult market. And clearly one of the limitations on that was how do we scale the business in our chosen sector without actually increasing the numbers of employees. So for example, in medical underwriting, we were looking at a situation with the growth figures. We just physically couldn't have actually got that number of people on board, trained them up and maintained the volume. So we had to find an innovative solution. And through that we began to look for help, and fortunately we got involved with FICO, and we began to have discussions around how we might use rules and decisioning support to take away some of the work from those very scarce resources in our business. And we began to realize that actually straight-through processing and a service-oriented architecture was the way we were going to go. We did a great selection process where FICO came out with Blaze Advisor head and shoulders above everyone else. We particularly liked the culture. We thought there was a great cultural fit between the people in FICO, and that has proved the test of time, and we now have a fantastic relationship. We've built and got live now 7 rule services, with another 2 going live in the next few months. And the initial ones related to our income protection business. And what we did is we used the rule services in 2 ways in that. One was the straight-through processing, where we actually used it physically to support the business rules of managing the documentation and things through process. And the other was we've been looking at tele-interview support for our claims and our underwriting people in that case. Effectively what we do is through the telephone interview is supported by the rules service and helps direct the interviewer through the right set of questions, making a much less painful process for the customer. And it gives the interviewer the confidence to know that they've covered everything they need to enable the claim to be the policy to be onboarded. That has worked phenomenally well. We now have over 30% of our business actually goes straight through with no need for any telephone contact at all. A further 30% is now handled straight through without any reference onto medical advice or anything like that, which has taken about 70% of the costs out from our medical costs for onboarding. The other people we're now gone live with is claims, and one thing we've done is using that same rule service, we've managed to reuse a lot of it to manage our claims advice. This is really a proof of concept, because what we actually want to do with a large part of our claims is to go straight through processing through the web. So the customer will initiate the claim themselves, go through the initial triage and do it themselves. We believe about 50% of our customers would quite like to do that rather than speaking to a human being. So this will be one channel, and we will give the customer a choice. We've done a lot of work on customer insight to understand why the customers were not particularly happy. When they got into the claim process and it had been accepted, they then thought we were great. So we've focused on that front-end bit to try and improve the customer experience, which is good for our retention. And that's worked phenomenally well. The key thing for us was we have scarce IT resources, and if we can get those rules managed by the people who actually know best, then that will save a lot of cash and free up resources to do other things that will add more value. Agility has been a big part of the whole SOA piece. The one thing that we particularly liked about Blaze Advisor was we have an expression from a well-known advert in England that talks about a paint product that it does what it says on the tin, and that's exactly what we found with Blaze. It's actually worked exactly as it says on the tin. The principle around Centre of Excellence works for us in that we get the right people together, the ownership is clear that it lies with the business, so the subject matter expert who understands the business rule is empowered to learn about how decision processes work, how the rule engine work, and they are trained effectively on how they can manage their rules. It's just building a tremendous part of our culture. And a part of the culture of healthcare is about great leadership, and we can actually empower people through the Centre of Excellence to get on and just do the things themselves without having to reference management or leadership or the board or anything like that. So it's really worked for us extraordinarily well. The initial adoption of the product went through seamlessly, and that was very good. We then had FICO back in to have a look at things like the Centre of Excellence, and they worked with us very closely in the selection of the initial projects. And so it's relatively easy now, because of the engagement with FICO, to get more projects initiated, because the cost-benefit case is quite easy to believe, and we can see the benefits coming through, and we are getting double-digit improvements on a lot of our services, and we think that's quite important for our customers. We have a lot of great value customers that we'd like to see stay with us, who we may be able to do a better deal if we actually supported it with a rules engine.